Hello and welcome back to the Contemplation Cafe. This is Paul, your host, and as always, inviting you to come inside, pull up a chair, and have a think or two. I had an interesting experience at the car dealership that I thought would be rather enlightening and give some folks food for thought. Now, my bride's car needed some servicing, and I could take it to the dealership. Car still under warranty within 3 years. That way, if something were wrong and had to be addressed, obviously it would be a warranty deal and they take care of it and it'd be great. Now, there were some additional items that I wanted them to do, and I kind of had an idea in my head about how much it was going to cost. So, I'd have been cool to a certain dollar amount. I figured about $400, and that's probably what I can handle to get extra work done that I wanted done. So I get down there, do all the talk, sure as shooting, what I want to have done, about what I expected, good to go. The mechanic gives me a video of his inspection, and he tells me that my brakes probably need to be serviced. The back brakes, he said, they wear out first, whatever that means, and they got about 10,000 more miles on them. Now, my car is about 3 years old and has about 25,000 miles. So in my cooker, 10,000 miles means I got about a year before I really have to worry about changing the brakes the way the car is being driven. Well, between that video and the subsequent phone call from the service manager, those brakes need to get changed off right now. It's a safety issue. Well, I get what the guy told me, but of course this is my bride's car and I want her to be happy. So I'm like, all right, I'll get the brakes done. That's fine. Well, we also recommend you get brake service. Your brake fluid serviced and changed out and whatnot. And I'm thinking again, he's got me. He goes, oh, well, nice car. And I, wouldn't want to not do something. And I get a phone call later that the car's acting funny or whatever. And then of course he comes back also with, yeah, we should get your induction clean and this other stuff too. So this is over and above all that I asked him to do. And again, he got me right. It's the wife's car. If it was my car, I probably would have said, whatever, dude. But no, I acquiesced. So they go get the work done, and in the meantime, my $400 pre-agreed upon price ballooned to over $1,300. Yep. Fortunately, I had the money to pay for that, and it was a long day that day. So when I got down there to pick up my vehicle, it still wasn't ready yet. They were very, very busy. And I basically stayed for about another hour, hour and a half, waiting for my car to come out. In the meantime, the service manager comes over and we're just chatting around and whatnot. And I'm not sure he meant to tell me this, but he let me know that they were really killing it that month on their numbers. That they were just whatever their goal, their target was for the month, they were really getting it. And then revealed to me that everyone there was on commission. Well, of course, when he said that, my spider sense just went tingle, tingle, tingle. My ears perked up. So I was very interested in listening to everything this guy had to say. And as we're talking, then he also, really appreciated my patience and being there. And he said that, hey, when you get the survey, I need a 10. 10 is what we need to have, and anything less than that's not going to be acceptable. So I'm like, well, I'll take the survey when they send it over. Sure, I'll be happy to do a survey. Why not? So I get my car, off I go. Well, here comes the survey. And I take great delight in letting them know that, A, you shouldn't have to ask your customers for a 10 if you're providing them a 10. But worse than that, the customer does not know what a 10 level of service looks like, so they can't adequately assess if they received a 10 service or not. And therefore, they couldn't anyway accurately tell the survey people, yeah, I got a 10, or I got a 6, or I got a 2. There's no way, because we the poor, blind, less than intelligent consumer, just didn't know what the yardstick was. And then, of course, I also let them know that, you might want to let your employees know that they shouldn't disclose that they're all on commission after you just took some guy's bill from $400 to $1,300. Because now he's beginning to think of all that stuff, how much of that was really necessary and how much of that could have waited or was irrelevant at all. Or were they simply doing that to upsell me so they can continue to make whatever numbers they had to make to get a bonus or whatnot. And then, to top it all off, the whatever manager person that this survey feedback goes to called me, and I was busy at the time. I worked with poop and stuff like that, so I had my hands in samples. I couldn't get the phone, and they left, oh, give us a call back. Well, I called back, and it wasn't the number to that particular manager. It was the generic phone number to the dealership, and I had to sit there and listen to the phone tree options. And the phone tree options didn't tell me exactly where to go find this manager person. So I thought about it for a minute. I called again, and then it gave me the option to leave a message, but it didn't tell me with whom I was leaving the message. It just gave me the option. I couldn't talk to a person, so I just said, you know what, we're just done. So now, of course, now that manager is going to say, well, I reached out to the customer and they just never got back to me. Whatever. Just wanted to bring that up, and just as a that's a horrible way to not only treat your customer, but definitely a horrible way to talk to your customer. It became very obvious to me, and I'm not going to say this for everyone that's out there, right? There's the good, the bad, and the ugly, but evidently with these people, their business model, they have a baseline level of service that they have to provide. Maybe there's a legal requirement or whatnot. And they're franchise owners, right? They're not employees of the car manufacturer. They're a franchise that they're paying some kind of money. They've signed an agreement to sell and service these cars on behalf of the manufacturer. And so that being said, they've got some minimum level of service. They've determined they have to do this at a minimum. Anything beyond that becomes a sales conversation and a sales opportunity. And this is how these guys operate. So I just wanted to pass that along as a little educational piece in my own consumer journey, and bring some empowerment there. I rest assured I'm going to go back and educate myself a little bit more about the ins and outs of car repair and car service. And I understand, like, for example, these auto manufacturers, they don't make their own parts. Those are all subbed out to a third party, and they just pay to have their name stamped on the box, because the cost would be enormous. So a lot of those parts, they're not made there. They're made somewhere else. So yeah, you could go somewhere and get parts that fit your car, and they're made to the same specification as the people that make them and stamp the name of the car manufacturer on them, that you pay twice for because it's our certified part. And I'm going to do some work into mechanics and how they really are schooled and trained. And I get it. There may be some particular ins and outs of a particular kind of car, but these mechanics are all ASE certified trained mechanics. So that means they go to a school and they're all trained to the same standard, which means they all have the same basic knowledge of cars and car repair, regardless of year, make, and model vehicle. Like an air conditioner, this is how an air conditioner works. The cooling system, this is how the cooling system works. And of course, when they go to work for somebody else, they may learn the particular, when they built this car, this little flippy-doo switch is actually way over here. So they'll learn some of the ins and outs like that. But the generic basics that haven't changed in cars probably in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, they all have that same level of knowledge. I'm going to make myself a much better informed consumer. I don't like feeling like I've been taken advantage of. Automatically, unless you do car work for a living, when you walk into those places, you're automatically at a knowledge disadvantage. And they know this, and they use that as leverage to get you to part with money you probably don't need to part with. Just wanted to share my experience, my pain and suffering, and what I intend to do about it, and give you some things to think about as well when it comes down to car repairs. And do we really have to go to the dealership or not? Thanks again for stopping by the Contemplation Cafe, and we'll see you again next time.